I didn't ask for this. I really, really did ask for this.
You know, I mean,
But they're forcing our hand.
it's a gimmick and all that we're doing here, but I guess this one actually fits.
It really does because I don't want to talk about Goblin Slayer. I'm like uninterested in watching the anime because I read the manga, but all these people whining about it. I'm starting to think it's manufactured to make it because nothing sells like controversy.
Which is funny because people are probably hearing us talk about wanting being like, oh, those SJWs again, where it's like, no, actually, it's the opposite this time, which is interesting.
I know. Although you see a lot of those anime YouTubers that make their mind directing people to Crunchyroll, like Giguk and them, saying it's the worst anime ever. No, School Days exists. That's the worst anime that ever exists.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right,
I
that
haven't
doesn't
repressed
exist.
that completely out of my brain.
Well, and then there's Dragon Ball GT, which also is one of the worst animes. So,
You know what? If I have to make a choice, I'll let that one last before I'll let School Days exist.
god damn that. That's the thing about School Days when you learn from J-List that what happened in the end didn't even happen in the games. Because that's just a typical hentai game where he just fucks all the girls.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you adapt every route and don't expect bad things to happen.
Well, I'd like to think that if all of a sudden a harem anime he went with everybody, they wouldn't all just immediately kill him.
True.
I like the isekai smartphone route.
Where they just decide to share.
They're just like, fuck it, let's all go for it.
Well, in that world, harems exist, so it's allowed.
Doesn't matter. It counts. It's canon.
Hmm.
Should be exist everywhere now.
But I guess we need to talk about Goblin Slayer.
Do we have to?
Pretty much because, goddamn, these people talk about how it's fascist because he wants to holocauster all the goblins. Well, they're not making a good example of why we shouldn't. They come in like migrant refugees from the Middle East. Oh, there's just a few of them. Then one night they're going around raping every woman, and then I wonder if they have their media saying that was like that didn't happen. It's those darn Methodist elves.
Well, it definitely happens.
I know, because Germany still doesn't want to admit that happened that night. I learned about that from Stream America and Sargon and Milo did back when they still talked to each other. That is,
What a novel idea, too. People at one point were talking to each other.
I know. I don't understand all this bullshit. Like saying that Goblin Slayer's fascist because he goes around killing goblins when all they do is murder men and rape women. Furthermore, they strap naked women to shields and use them as meat shields.
Well,
What?
just in
Yeah.
general, it's like, man, like I don't even know why people are even going the political route with a show like this to begin with. Because where are you getting the idea that like a political ideology suddenly needs to be implemented into something like this?
Well, you're talking about brainlets that don't understand that fascism was created by Mussolini and not
I don't even
Hitler.
give a fuck about that far, dude. Like, it's just why is anybody even using the word to describe a show like this? Like, it's a fucking piece of fiction. It's in a world that doesn't exist. Like, how can you equate the two
I
things
don't.
together?
I don't
They don't
understand.
know. They don't know what fascism is in those worlds.
No, they don't. Well, so like a few weeks ago, there was like some article from some rag talking about Japan's fascism. That's a fascination with fascism because a lot of those shows like Attack on Titan they do like the Hugo Boss uniform bullshit. Like the Japanese just like those uniforms. That's all it is. They think they look stylish.
Well, yeah, because there was the. I know I saw Tim Pool do a video recently about somebody who was bitching about ACA 13 because the uniforms look somewhat like Nazi uniforms. And I took one look at the picture. I'm like, no, those look like what police like like police academy uniforms are kind of looking like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the fuck this idiot's seeing. But it is the thing that Tim was saying. It's like, if you're going so far as to watch an anime and even admit that the show is that you like the show, but you can't because you think you see Nazi imagery in it, it's like, why the fuck are you even bothering watching anything? Because clearly there's no way you're going to find something you like.
Well, it's sort of like Yojo Senki, all these people saying that Tanya is a Nazi. No, she's in like a fictionalized version of World War One.
I mean, essentially, like what they're portraying her as is essentially like, I guess you could make the comparison, but at the same time, it's not real, and it's not even like, it's pseudo World War One. It really isn't. It's just its own like inclination of what a war in that time would be like if it was magic.
Yeah, that's all it is. Like, and they don't understand that a lot of like the Japanese, they just like the design of the Hugo Boss uniform. That's all it really is.
I'll even it's just it's straight up that. Why are we even so fixated on the ideology? Like, can we not just say these people were designed to be evil as fuck?
Yeah, because that's the whole point of Yojo Senki. When she was a man in our world, she was a horrible person. So God sends her there to learn a lesson, and she keeps being evil.
I mean, it goes back to. Sorry, go ahead.
And God keeps fucking with her, thinking that she'll finally learn her lesson. Just leave her alone.
Well, it just keeps going back to the fact that, like, we have all these people that are now in the last 5 years just throwing the same verbiage back and forth. Like, Nazi was not a word that we were throwing around 5 years ago. Fascist was not a word we were throwing around 5 years ago. Hell, all the other words like the snowflake, cuck, SJW, faggot, like all these things that we throw around left and right. This wasn't exactly a thing we were going back and forth with on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the idea that people are...
I can't even use the word cuck anymore because it's lost all meaning.
Every word's lost all meaning, honestly.
I know. Because I got called a cuck because I don't like Monster Hunter stories. Because I just said I would like a proper Monster Hunter anime, not this cutesy Pokemon Light bullshit.
But man, it's like you're watching a show. Why do you feel the need you have to throw a Nazi in there? Like, it has nothing to do with the show that you're watching. You're just trying to make an easy comparison so you have something to bitch about.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to Goblin Slayer,
yeah.
Now we have the opposite reaction because everybody assumes outrage culture as being an SJW thing. You have generally the, oh, this is racist, this is sexist, this is misogynist, this is transphobic, this is homophobic, all this shit.
I say it glorifies rape culture. How? The good guys aren't the rapists. It's the fucking goblins.
Well, I mean, and the biggest thing here is because the tables are kind of being flipped. I feel it's the opposite. I feel it's the anti-SJW culture that's really taking a victim side on this with this anime. Because I don't know if you've seen anything, but personally, like, I remember the day that I saw the episode. I looked through Twitter, I looked through Reddit, I tried to find like reactions from different sides. I didn't see anywhere anybody calling for the show to be canceled, for it to be censored, for it to be removed. Mm-hmm. So I saw nothing. I saw people that were a little put off and uncomfortable about that scene, but I didn't see anybody calling for the show's fucking head.
I know. Well, also there's the fact that like I saw him like killed on a Spike Club Freedom States channel. Someone asking that's going to get canceled because of, like, the Japanese don't care what the fucking gaijin think about this.
Not even that, but I mean, look at the numbers that it's doing. Crunchyroll doesn't even give a fuck at this point.
Yeah, the whole thing.
I'm amazed they put a warning on it, to be honest.
The thing
it wasn't
that really
good enough, but it's better than nothing.
The thing that pissed people off was the whole rating it PG. Because it caught people off guard. It should be probably TVMA instead of TV-14 like they have it now, like, because it's still a little bit explicit. Yes.
Well, the thing that I had a problem with, and I don't know what it's like on the PC version because I watch on my PlayStation 4, but at the very least, when you click on the show, before the show really starts, there is a message that says, warning, this is unsuitable for some viewers, extreme graphic content, you know, whatever. The viewer discretion is advised thing, no offense, though, doesn't do anything because we're so used to just clicking off of that because we know that everything is viewer discretion is advised these days. To me, I kept saying, and I reiterated this as soon as somebody let me know that there was a warning. That's not good enough. You need to actually have a pop up that tells people, no, seriously, this is actually really graphic because we're not used to being interrupted a second time.
I know.
Like when you go on, like, and I use the example with you guys, when you go on a place like eHentai and you click on a doujinshi that's actually really graphic, they give you an extra screen that says, hey, this one's actually pretty graphic. Are you sure?
Yeah, because it's got like scat or girl in there. They want
Yeah,
you to
yeah,
be,
like
they want you to
it'll
be
have
prepared to,
something definitely unsuitable.
yeah, something that only Germans would get off to.
But I mean, in the same way, like, I don't think nudity is something that you need to put a discretion thing up for because obviously, with what's on Netflix these days, there's nudity every other show. I don't think you need to put violence in terms of like brief like gunshots, like little bits of pools of blood here and there. Like as much as I really didn't like what episode 2 of Ulysses did with the fairies getting stomped,
Yeah,
it's not graphic so much. It's just like really you had to kill the moe shit.
I know.
But
Yeah,
like that's not a pop up rating.
well, also that spurred a little discussion on my server that day because Archon was like, "Fine, enemies get manly again." Like, I don't know if you really want manliness to be attached to a show that's where the main character is going to be a lolicon to power up the lolly.
Well, not to mention that, and this is probably gonna be something we talk about again and again until the fucking cows come home every single episode we do together. I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, I'm happy that it's so much like the thing I like now."
I know.
Motherfucker, a free market dictates that it doesn't go to anything you give a shit about. You are not thousands of people. You are one.
I know, because
Like, for the love of God, like, can we? It used to just be, why don't people like what I like? Now it's literally, why don't people like things the way that I like them?
mm-hmm.
It's getting worse.
Well, it's like my arguments about like psychono, the boring girlfriend one.
Yeah, How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend.
Yeah,
Seikano.
I just can't get into it because I feel like it's really cliche. He's going to end up with Megumi, and like, I don't see what the appeal of her is.
I still haven't watched the second season, but I love it. But I'm not offended or butthurt that you don't like that show.
No, I just couldn't get into it because I go more towards Ariri because of Tsundere, but
Gee, what a shock. How did I know that was coming?
also because I don't like the whole focus on the overly autistic girlfriend who's completely dependent on him aspect.
See, I'm more into the cousin who plays guitar because goddamn, she plays a mean guitar. That's hot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. You got great girls in the show, and all the series just focuses on Megumi. And
Because
it's like,
they try to have Megumi being like the blank slate that you can kind of put your own spin on her with, and to me, it's the same reason why I'm so tired of the main character in harems being like this blank slate character that people can just put themselves in. It's like, no, stop being fucking lazy and stop like doing this shit so that people can have their own version. Write the
yeah.
character and make it fucking make sense. Like, stop
Well,
with this lazy
basically,
bullshit.
I've heard that men will project themselves onto any character. It's women that need to have the character projected onto them, or something like that. Might be the other way around, but
Well,
it doesn't matter because here's what I would like to see as a harem protagonist: is a tsundere who just wants to be let the fuck alone. He's like the really badass guy, and he's just like one fucking day off because he's basically a hero. Has a common solve problems, and it's like his day off, and he's just pissed off because some stupid criminals had to ruin his day off.
I would love to see a harem anime where the guy's already married and see how he puts up with that shit.
Yeah, because well, it's another thing like Sweetness and Lightning's manga finally ended, and I was kind of disappointed how it ended because I was hoping that Kotori would end up with Sensei, and it didn't happen.
Well, yeah, but isn't the I don't know if that would make any sense anyway. The age gap's kind of big, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Japan. They don't really care.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even in that sense, it's like,
Well, I think he was like a fresh out of college, and that was his first cheap teaching job, so and could be feasible. But yeah, you do make a good point.
it's just one of those things too that like the teacher student dynamic is pretty much it's a big taboo.
Hmm.
I imagine in Japan where taboos are a lot more enforced, that's probably a really bad taboo.
Yeah, probably. It's just one of those things like. But also, like with harems, I really hate those ones that overdo the sexual fan service bullshit. Like there's like World's End Harem. I couldn't get into it because well, I was reading it and I got to the point where reading the conscious pissed me off because people are pissed off that the main characters decide he's not going to be a mindless breeder just fucking women because that's expected of him. He wants to find a cure for wire disease wiped out the man. And I think he's being selfish because of that. Like, wow.
But yeah, I mean, of course, as usual, we dance way off topic here. So,
Yeah, back to the goblins.
I mean, this is the issue that I take. Like, I'm double annoyed at both sides because as a guy who, for example, really, really likes Keijo, and
Hmm.
everybody on the left shat on that show because, as of course they always say, all this sexual, all this ecchi content basically is propagating, that women are just, glorified, bodies for people to rape. And yet here's a show that has a lot of rape, like a lot of rape in it, and they're not batting an eyelash.
Hmm.
So I'm pissed off at the left. But now I'm also pissed off at, well, I guess the anti-left, because I don't really know if I can consider this right wing.
No.
But there's all these people that are going around making it seem like all these people are whining about the show when, again, as somebody who actively looks out for leftist content that are bitching and complaining about shows, I haven't seen anything. And there are these people acting like every single person that doesn't like this show is trying to shut it down, which is like, what the fuck are you reading? It feels like now it's opposite. Like you said, manufactured. It seems like they're trying to find manufactured outrage so that they can justify liking a show that's so inherently like edgy as fuck to the point that it's like, dude, like this is kind of creepy that you're into this now.
I know. It's just I really think a lot of outrage is manufactured because nothing brings viewers like controversy because people are going to see what the big deal is. Like I personally just don't think it's something I want to watch just because I read the manga and like.
Well, but the thing is that you just saying you're not going to watch it, they take it like it's a personal slight,
Hmm.
which is like,
Yeah, that's
what
what
the
happened.
fuck?
That's what happened to me on Spike Club's We've No Stay basically because I didn't like that they called me a moe loving fag. Like I just don't like gory shit. I'm not an edgy boy. I'm almost 40 years old. I'm too old to be that edgy teen still.
Well, you don't even have to be like, I'm not an edgy boy. Like, it's literally just like, I don't care for this stuff. I'm allowed to not care for this stuff.
I know. Yeah, I like the moe stuff sometimes. I like stuff that's just entertaining. Nothing's
Like,
entertaining about something that makes you angry and upset.
well, I've said it in general. It's like, my life's depressing enough as it is. Why the hell would I need to go back and forth? And why would I play games that are going to make me upset? It's why I don't play Call of Duty a lot anymore. It's why I don't play like a lot of multiplayer shooters like that. The same reason why I don't watch a lot of anime. It's either going to depress me or make me angry. Like, why would I do that? Like, I'm already stressed out enough in my daily life. I need to get away from it somehow. Comedy helps.
I know. Just it's just one of those, and I can get the feeling that this is going to be that one overly hyped series of the season that because there's always that one every season, like back in spring and was it when did Darling and the Franks start in the winter last year? But
Isn't that
that's
crazy though to think that Goblin Slayer might actually be the overhyped show when Sword Art Online is literally starting a new season? That's
yeah,
insane to me that that might be a possibility. That Goblin Slayer may be the overhyped show when Sword Art Online already exists.
yeah. I had to throw Sword Art Online anything that references it on mute because I do not want to hear about it. Because as far as I'm concerned, that series is done for me because Sinon is no longer important. They got shoved the Sire wife down our throats again. Because don't you know, she made soy sauce in a VR MMO.
I'm just at the point where it's like, I get it. You people like the show. Stop talking to me though like it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to anime because we all know it's not.
Uh-huh. I like Index, but I don't claim it's the greatest thing ever to happen. But I do like Toma because he's that rare harem protagonist that punches women.
Well, it's even just the thing altogether where it's like, why are we acting like Sword Art Online is the greatest thing when Lock Horizon is the exact same thing and does it better? And I'm not even saying that as like somebody who doesn't like Sword Art Online. I'm literally saying that because I've watched both and I can see that Lock Horizon not only is a better show, but it's written like an exponentially higher quality.
Well, yeah, because it's got a more mature take on how to what people would do. Because they act like all these people that got stuck in the game are a bunch of adolescent teens that their instinct is just kill each other.
Because I mean, I get it. Like for a lot of people, Sword Art Online is what started their love for anime, or in the case, it was the first one of its kind. So sure, in the same vein that a lot of people think Final Fantasy VII is the greatest Final Fantasy because it's their first.
Mm-hmm.
But no offense, folks, but usually the first thing you like is never the best thing you like. You just happen to have so much nostalgia behind it that
Yeah.
you kind of let it over supersede everything.
Well, it's like my rants about Micah Curtis, how he bitches about anime because that's why I had to stop watching him because he'd take some hotshot modern anime every time he streamed. And I'm like, stop looking at Berserk through nostalgia goggles. The fact that the author has been doing this for 20 fucking years because or I don't know if it's been 20 fucking years. I think he started back in the 80s and he still hasn't finished it. Says that the author doesn't give a shit about that story. That he's probably going through an edgy boy phase of his life and then he grew out of it. And he's like, well, fuck. How do I finish the story?
Like, I'm looking at all the shows that I have given a 10 out of 10 on my anime list as my reference point.
Mhm.
It's not like I have shows that are 10s that are only from the like late 2000 or the early 2010s or early 2000s. I have shows that literally like every year there's like one or two shows that I give a 10 because I look at every season like it's a new season, like I've never watched anime before. I don't
I know.
understand this idea that people act like, oh, why can't it be back to the good old days? Like, this isn't like pro wrestling where, we have actual ratings numbers to define that, yeah, it definitely isn't the same anymore.
Well, in wrestling, you got those people that cling to the Attitude Era like it was some golden time. Yeah, it did well in ratings, but it was a different era when it could get away with that shit.
Well, and it's also just the fact that, like, it feels like back in the Attitude Era, at least they were actually trying.
Mhm.
Whereas now it feels like they're just coasting.
Yeah, and they want to just keep propping up the same bullshit over and over and over. And it's like I've talked about how I like John Morrison, and felt like he wasn't used right in the WWE because he's gone to like Lucha Underground and AAA, and he's doing really phenomenal. And I think a lot of it has to do with them giving him John Cena esque scripts to read that are full of
Well,
cringy
that's the
dad
thing.
jokes.
They're also not letting them ever act on their own, which is a
No,
huge deal. But
because like I always felt like John Morrison should have been that calm, soft spoken guy that instead that spurging autist like the Miz, who goes on a tirade and always has to say that he's awesome. And I don't understand how the Miz is popular still because the hating douchebags bullshit is still 10 years ago.
Well, to be fair, what it is also is that he's been able to do a good job at being really easy. He it's really easy to hate someone who has a face that's really easy to punch.
Mhm.
I guess that's for starters, but he's been around constantly and he's always been really easy to hate. Like he does a very good job of just being hateable.
Yeah.
So he works. Like there are guys that like there's the term X-Pac heat, which is
That-
not
It's basically
it's
go
it
away heat. They don't really
yeah,
hate you.
it's not I want to see you get your ass kicked. It's I want you off my fucking television screen.
Yeah, like Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Like, god damn.
See, she was Big Red before Big Red existed.
Oh god. Oh god, it's true.
But yeah, like I mean, just going back to anime in general, it's just the idea that I'm so tired of people like, and this goes beyond anime. This is gaming. This is hell. This is sports. This is television. This is film. I'm tired of people that are trying to get everything to go back to the good old days. Because I'm sorry, but the good old days are come and gone.
Yeah, it's
Anime
kind of
is not being made the same way. Games are not being made the same way. So either adapt and open up a little bit, or you might just want to go back and watch reruns of Berserk every time because it's not going to get any better to the standards that you've set.
no. uh, Like like Michael Kersey bitches about how modern anime got they don't want to do stuff like Berserk anymore. Well, Berserk doesn't sell as well. They can make an idle anime and they can make a bunch of money off the merchandise because they're like Love Live. They can make a series of that and people will go buy the body pillows, the figurines. Same with Fate. They make a lot of money off the mobile game. They make a lot of money off of figurines and pillows.
Well, that's the thing. There are some anime that aren't exactly the greatest, but they've been able to merchandise themselves really well. It's like, for example, is Kiss the greatest music act ever, or are they just really good at marketing?
They're good at marketing. That's plain simple.
I'm not saying they're terrible. I like a lot of their music, but they certainly wouldn't be in my top 10 of the greatest musical acts of all time. They're certainly number one at musical acts that know how to fucking make a quick buck.
Yep.
Which I give them full props for, because if you can make so much goddamn money off a mediocre band, props to you.
Yeah, like Ulysses, because you mentioned it earlier. I was laying in bed this morning and thinking about it. Like, I think I might drop that because it's just like I get this feeling it's going to be one of those series where the main character is useless and only reason he's there is to activate the overpowered weapon of mass destruction.
That is my worry too, and I didn't mention that in my review because I hadn't thought of it until later on. But like, if they're gonna make it so that all he does is just make out with women to turn on to make them go Super Saiyan, essentially, it's like, nah, this is gonna be a little. I almost dropped the show in the first place because I was just so pissed off with the way they wrote that show. Because, like I said, if you're gonna have a character on the show that you're going to point out that she has big tits, she has tits, look at them, look at them, look at them, and then call her a fucking milk cow, and then 2 seconds later you're going to be like, here's this moe thing that you think is really adorable, and we're going to innocently slaughter all of them. I'm like, if you can't make up your mind what you want to be, it's going to be really hard to keep me invested.
And I get the feeling that Richmond got raped because that scene where she's in a carriage all covered up like a rape victim. I was like, that was the first red flag I got. And I'm just thinking, I'm gonna drop that and probably pick up Boarding School Juliet because it looks like it'll be at least fun to watch.
Because like at this point, that show, like Ulysses is what I call on notice on my articles, where it's like, you better fix your shit in the next episode or you're gone.
Yeah,
that's like, you got one shot left.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it one more episode. And I might just drop it because I got this bad feeling it's gonna be that the main character is useless. He's only there to make out with women and make them Super Saiyans.
Like hell, like if I can get a shonen show like Radiant to be really interesting, if I can get a show that's basically just endless amounts of moe and like autistic screeching from a creature in Mercstoria, and I can like those shows better than Ulysses that has really characters that look really fucking cool, like I can't remember what her name is off the top of my head right now, but the girl that they give the milk cow name to, she looks fucking badass. The girl with the pistol, like, she looks fucking cool.
A rule or something like that's what her name is.
Well, like, she looks awesome, and then they decide to just kind of pigeonhole her with the, oh yeah, she has big tits gimmick. I'm like, great. So we're just going to do that again. We're giving her the Hestia role, except she's actually useful.
And then you got like Zombieland Saga, which is just like I wasn't sure I was going to watch it. Then I saw a clip of that rap battle. I was like, I got to watch this because it looked entertaining.
See, that show is almost on notice with me because it's starting to be like, as I commented, I'm like, look, the concerts are amazing, but the 15 minutes before it are terrible. So it's like, you could just make this into a short, or at least have it down, and it might be a little more easy to consume. Because right now, like, I'm basically just watching 15 minutes of the main character being like, what's going on? What's going on? Huh? Nani? And then everybody else just basically adding nothing to the mix, unless it's Saki, the biker girl, who's just being a bitch, which is amazing.
What you don't like? Legendary Yamanate!
Look, if I wanted somebody to watch somebody that's just going to bite all the time, I can find a lot of other animes that do it better.
I know, that first episode, though, because
I think that's also part of it, too. That guy's voice is really fucking irritating.
Well, when he's I made a comment basically that he's basically going to be plankton. He's going to be like, I don't know. I wasn't. I didn't think I'd make it this far because he's kind of flying by the seat of his pants. He doesn't have a good plan. It's like I tweeted out earlier today. His master plan: dig up zombies and make them into idols. Question marks. Profit.
Which I mean, the way that they're setting it up is funny because it makes zero sense, and I'm always into shows that like I can't make heads or tails of. But usually the shows that I'm into that do the I don't know what the fuck's going on, at least they're funny and entertaining all the way through. This show is like
Well, it's also
it's doing nothing. Well, yeah, but the show's not doing anything funny for the first 10 to 15 minutes.
I know. One show I'm actually kind of really enjoying is Gridman.
Yeah, I kept looking at it being like, I should give this a shot, and then my brain just keeps going, it's a mech anime, you know you hate mech anime, stop trying mech anime.
Mecha, it's actually more like you've heard Ultraman, right? That's not really mecha.
No, I know. But I mean, even then, like those kind of shows just have never fit with me, so
yeah.
It's a case where I just decided, because I had so many shows already that I was running, I'm like, no, I can't getting anymore, especially one that I'm probably just going to drop anyway.
Yeah.
If I drop more shows early on, I might have taken a look at it, but now it's too late. I'm already 3 weeks in. I can't be starting another show now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, like you don't watch mecha, but I got to the point near the end of Iron Blood Orphans where I just stopped watching it because I could see what's going on. They were going to go with the bad guys win bullshit, and I was like, I'm not going to sit through that because I got better things to do with my time than watch something that's going to leave me depressed. Because and they'd had to do a lot of ass pulls to explain why they want against the all-powerful Gundam frames.
Yeah.
They had to use weapons of mass destruction that they said weren't allowed, but it's okay when they use them.
Of course, everything's fine. Everything's fine as long as I'm doing it.
Yeah. And
at the very least, though, like I'm happy that at least after 2 full weeks, I'm finding at least a few shows that I'm really into, because I was worried at the start that there was going to be almost nothing. Whereas I've got like 3 shows that I'm pretty convinced are already going to be in my top 3 unless one of them sneaks up later on.
Yeah. Because I'm going to give Ulysses one more episode, but I'm just not into it. It seems like it's one of those opie everywhere shows that tries to use the titties to get people to watch. But
well, no, I don't even think it's that. I think it's trying to use it wants to just be a titty show, but it feels like it can't be. So they're trying to put some edgy stuff in there to kind of balance it, where it's like, no, that's not going to work.
Meanwhile, that time I got reincarnated as a slime is just solid because it's not trying to be edgy. It's just trying to have fun.
Well, that's the thing. Like a show that I see like Ulysses is a show that I see and go, that looks like a show that should just be silly fun. And they're trying to make it a little more edgy just so that way they can claim, hey, we're not just a titty show. It's like, Keijo is literally just a titty show and embraces that, and look how good it is.
Yeah, because
sometimes if you don't take yourself seriously, you end up actually being really good.
Well, I remember when Keijo was airing, that was when the Mary Sue had some feminist bitch go after anime because.
Oh, Mary Sue went after it. I'm pretty sure Jezebel did. I know Kotaku and Polygon both did.
Yeah, that's what caused Operation Moe to happen, where all this bunch of us. I was like a normie Twitter account, and that shit's like, okay, I'm not a full-on weeb yet, but stop attacking our fun. Could you just do that?
Well, and as we're seeing now with certain shows that are given the free pass here, like, I don't know, the one where they were talking about Goblin Slayer, is if they like the show, they will completely ignore the same stuff that they are supposed to be hating.
Mm-hmm. Well, with Keijo, they were trying to make out like the show promotes pedophilia because one of the girls has a flat chest.
Like, yeah, that's how it works, guys. Like, I don't have a girlfriend who's going to be turning 30 soon and has a flat chest,
And that show that they don't understand, like anime culture, that they put the flat chest because not everyone's into milk cows.
That's the thing too. It's the big thing with like say hentai and stuff where I'm like, dude, why the hell is every girl got to have like I don't even know what letter to use. That's how big. It's like I don't even know what letter that is.
K cups.
Is is that Q? But like I look at that, and be like, okay, one, that's not even possible, and two, like how is she even able to stand up straight?
I know. I can't do like I play custom or make 3D when I because sometimes I can't find good porn, so I just make a girl that fits my taste. A lot of times, I just make them really on the smaller side because that does it for me. I think Bleach permanently made me just dislike those overly sized opie,
It depends, like what character you're referring to.
like the Rangiku types, where they got these. I don't know if you call them basketballs or beach balls attached to their chest. Like
I'm trying to think because I know a lot of the characters just from like visually. I don't know the names to a lot of them.
she's the one that showed her cleavage all the time.
That could mean anything to me.
The redhead with the cleavage.
Okay, let's see. Ranker, help me. No, no, that's not her.
Ranko.
No, that's not her.
Let's see. Bleach. I'll find it.
I'm trying my ass off and I can't find it.
And I thought her name was Ranko or something like that.
Are you sure it's Bleach? Because I just went through like a ranker and the top 20 doesn't even have her name in there.
I forgot.
Unless it's Rengiku.
Rangiku. Yeah, her. It's been years since I watched. Well, not really.
I don't hate that level, but it's definitely not top. Like I definitely don't have that kind of
By the
preference.
time Bleach got done, I was like, oh, Soifon.
Like great example is High School of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even say it. I'll smack you if you say it. Obviously, you know the difference between like say Saya and what's the teacher's name, but just the blonde teacher where she literally like her gimmick is she buries everybody in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, that's a little much. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're into that, cool, but no.
Yeah. I like overall, Saya was
It
the only one that did it for me because the others had like ridiculous sized tits. Like,
well, Kendo Girl was more than fine with me.
yeah. I won't say my usual line about Ray, but let's just say it's implied.
Look, I know that you thought about saying it.
And we'll leave it at that. But, but that's just one of those things as a weep I just get tired of is all these overly sized tits and anime. Like, you get to the point where they just do nothing for you. They're like, and you start seeing flat tits or small tits. You're like, oh, hello. Because that's how.
Well, and that's the other thing too, right? Is that you get so oversaturated with the same default kind of character. Like, there's a reason why I don't care about High School DxD, and everybody's like, Rias is so hot. I'm like, sure, but I mean, anybody can put a girl in there with red hair and giant tits, and it'll work.
Hmm.
Like, that's easy.
Well, for me in high school DxD, my best girls were like Konako, and Irina and Zenobia.
See, I'd
Because
have to fuck it.
they
Ranker,
had,
help me. I'm gonna see if I can come up with a response to this because I don't even know all the characters.
because Konako is basically a token lolly, and Zenobia and Irina are those two. They're from the church side, and they're sent to get the swords back. And I only like them because their tits seem more like within normal ranges, not like the nursing babies come wanting them. Because that's how my stance on like the oversized opie. Like, what are you, a nursing baby?
Yeah. I mean, looking at it because I know I've seen so much art from everything. I've seen enough. Like Kaneko is definitely one that is not bad. Zenovia is not bad. Grafia is not bad. Grafia is probably the closest thing I got to somebody I really like just from the look alone.
Now that you mentioned her, it reminds me. I can't remember, it was on Anime Planner, and I am a list, but someone had a review and they're bitching about how, uh, for isekai smartphone, and they're bitching about how the samurai girl was basically a ripoff of a Toho girl. Like, oh, but you didn't have a problem with Grafia being a ripoff of what's her name from Toho.
Well, even just at the end of the day, it's like the the word ripoff just drives me nuts. It's like I think we had this conversation too on one of our shows where I just said like it's everything's a ripoff of something nowadays. You can't not copy something.
Yeah.
Like hell, how many shows do we see now that we literally like? Wow, that like there's the mom in Hanabado literally looks like the main character of Keijo,
Mm-hmm.
like but like 10 years older, like to a fucking T. The hair and the bows are even the same color. It's fucking weird. So it's
Yeah.
like there's so many characters now that just by chance you're going to copy them.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. People like back in the day, I was doing message board RPs on Gaia, and this person I was doing it with, he was one of those. You need to be 100% original with your ideas for what you're going to do, or I'm not going to be part of it. Like
It's like good luck.
we live in past 2000, everything's been done at this point. You're going to be copying something.
It's like we're at the point that it's like that meme of like what we want to fuck every year with anime. It's like we're starting to run out of things to the point that now we're coming up with lolly dragons, our own cells.
Now
Like
goblins.
we're starting to run out. We're running out of ideas, guys.
Now we're at the point. Last week it was we must kill all the goblins. This week I want to fuck a
Well, because
goblin.
what was the train? I mean, I know at some point there was obviously Kana gets showed up because we want to fuck a dragon. Then it's like then we want to fuck a game console with Neptunia, and then it's like we want to fuck ourselves. Like all that's left is like you said the manga that you're reading, the house one. It's like I want to fuck my house. Like that's we're running out of things to make fun of now. So it's like what else do we do?
And I watched Conception today, and there's a scene in Conception where the raccoon thing starts grabbing the main character's dick and jerking him off.
Yeah, I went halfway into that first episode. I'm like, this is retarded.
I only stayed through it because of the Tsundere Miko.
I couldn't like because the second that the show was already dumb enough as it was. Like I was already like, this is so stupid. And then the second it starts, the whole thing of the world's in danger. We need you to save them. We know that you have no idea what's going on, but you're the prophet and everything. It's like, I'm so tired of this fucking over the top cliche. It's like the only way that this kind of plot works is you have to get me from the get go. And that show did not get me from the get go. It was cringy as all hell at the start.
Yeah, I just. Well, he got cock blocked by a bunch of. So he didn't really get the fuck his.
It's I think it for me it was just right off the bat. Like literally the second the show goes, "Oh, you're pregnant? Oh dear." And then all of a sudden, teleportation.
I don't know.
Like
Well,
I think you guys missed a couple steps.
well, it's on the Spy Club. We've no stay, and someone was saying that the main character's a cuck because he hears his girlfriend is pregnant and not by him, and he just accepts it. Like he wasn't even dating her yet.
It's like
They were childhood friends and cousins. If you paid, see, this is what pisses me off about some people. They're like, they weren't even paying attention because you eventually find out on the episode that she wasn't pregnant. It's just her body expelling the impurities or whatever.
yeah.
And on top of that, in the first few minutes of the fucking show, he refers to her as the daughter of the relatives he's living with, which kind of hints that he saw her more as a cousin and a childhood friend. He was not dating her. That's the thing that just drives me crazy. People who just don't pay attention. They're like, they jump to their conclusions. Oh, he's a cook because you. Well, it means that he probably wasn't interested in her that way. He's just trying to be supportive.
It's also just this thing in general where it's just like everybody's trying to make their own conclusions on things where it's like, dude, like
just sit back and watch it because things will make sense if you actually pay attention a little bit.
either just watch it, enjoy it, or shut the fuck up. Because like just it's not working anymore, man.
Like it's sort of like the whole Senran Kagura bullshit. And how
Oh god, don't get me started on that fucking crap too.
PlayStation, they're like, it's not even the Japanese version of PlayStation. It's the Western ones like Europe, like big surprise because it's not to the personal taste of this one person. They don't want the money. I just, I'm not even a fan of Senran Kagura, but I will stand on principles because it's
Well,
bullshit.
that's the thing. I'm not planning on buying the game, but it's just the idea of you still want to make like you're censoring a certain part of this anime titty game, but you're still trying to sell the anime titty game. Like
Oh, here's the
it,
thing.
it makes no sense that you're just taking that one thing out because you're like, oh, this will make it easier for people to digest. I'm like, no, it won't, because it's still Senran Kagura. Like you might be able to take this one aspect out, but it's still Senran Kagura.
Well, it's also the fucking hypocrisy about like, because they're perfectly okay with Grand Theft Auto and all the nudity and bullshit that's there. Like,
No, they're not okay with it. It's just it makes so much money that they can't really do anything to it.
mm-hmm. That's really
Like, look at
hypocritical.
how much money that they're probably making in digital sales because of Grand Theft Auto. Like, Sony does not give a fuck about what Grand Theft Auto does.
But it's all. It just reeks of hypocrisy. That's okay when someone from the West does it.
Well,
But
Senran Kagura can, they can fiddle with because it won't make them that much money to begin with. So, they can take a stand on something like that because they probably aren't going to make much to begin with.
yeah, I was listening to Ralph Retort last night, and one of the callers was started calling the PlayStation fans console fags and telling them saying you just need to get a PC. Like, I hate these kind of people. The PC master race bullshit.
It's
It's
like,
like,
sure. I mean, I have a laptop that is actually worth almost $3,000, but that was $3,000 5 years ago.
mm-hmm.
I don't have $3,000 that I can throw every 3 years to keep my PC up. Well, I'm sorry, I know it's not $3,000, but I mean, like, I don't have $1,000 that I can throw at upgrading my PC every year. Like, that's ridiculous. There's a reason that we buy consoles, is because that's what we can afford, and it means we don't have to touch it for 7 to 8 years.
Yeah, that's the thing that these PC master race assholes don't get is like, yeah, your PCs are really top of the line. They got all this power, but it costs like 10 times what we paid for our console.
Well, I mean, at first you're probably paying a couple grand, and then you're paying almost every year, depending on how into it you are and you're trying to keep ahead. You're going to be paying like at least 500 to $1,000 every year to keep things updated. It's like, dude, like, either enjoy the debt you're collecting, or good for you for actually having money, because not everybody can keep up with that habit.
I know that's the thing, and then it gets more expensive because of the Bitcoin farmers.
Yeah,
They buy up all the graphics cards. I didn't understand why, but apparently they process better for doing that shit.
yeah, that was a weird time for a while.
And they thought that they were more entitled to the graphics cards than the people that were actually going to use it for games.
Well, even just in general, I don't even give a fuck about entitlement. It's just, hey, if you got it first and you're paying for it, like, it's a free market. Do whatever the fuck you want. I don't know. It's just one of those things, man, where it's like people just need to stop playing the game of, why don't you do what I do? It's like, motherfucker, there's reasons that we have a market that has multiple choices for us to go for.
Yeah.
It's because not everybody's like you.
Mm-hmm. Like you've heard my stories about my cousin bitching at me because I got a PlayStation instead of an Xbox One. He says, "Well, you can run 3 games on once on the, or has the power to run 3 games on the Xbox One." I'm like,
To which I would say, I'm sorry, I didn't feel like buying it. What at the time was being sold to us as a glorified ESPN box.
mm-hmm. I just told him, "What games do they have? They got nothing but Halo." Because what Xbox has, I can get on the PlayStation 2.
Do the list, because I might be forgetting a few things. The best Xbox One exclusives. So, Sunset Overdrive, meh. Quantum Break, also on PC, so meh. Rare Replay. Okay, that's the first red flag. The third game on this list is a greatest hits.
Mm-hmm.
Sea of Thieves. People debate that game is boring as fuck. State of Decay 2. I'll be completely honest. As much as I like State of Decay, it's not great. Ori and the Blind Forest. Okay, I'll give them that one. Cuphead. on PC now. Doesn't count. I don't even know what the fuck this game is, but it's called hashtag IDARB. It's apparently also on PC. Okay. Forza Horizon 4, sorry, but Forza games are just run of the mill. Anybody can make those. Oh, look at that. Right after that, Forza Motorsport 7, 2 Forza games. Killer Instinct, also on PC and a fighting game. Anybody can make a fighting game. Halo, well, there you go. It's the one good exclusive they got. Oh, and Gears of War. Sorry, I forgot Gears of War.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Titanfall's now on everything, so that doesn't count. PUBG is also on PC. So that.
I don't even know why you'd be making a big deal about PUBG because by the time it comes out, people are getting tired of Battle Royale.
Dance Central Spotlight is now on this list. Okay, yeah, like if the best you can come up with is Halo and Gears of War, and the rest are either driving games or indie games, you're losing because in the last like 6 months, PlayStation 4 has already gotten several exclusives that blow that out of the water.
Mm-hmm. Like I've been buying a lot of games on when they go on sale on PlayStation. Like I just got Persona 5. I know it's not exclusive, but it's one of those. But I also got Uncharted.
What do you mean not exclusive? It is exclusive. Oh, Uncharted, sorry. Well, no, Persona is exclusive.
It is? I thought it was on PC.
No, Persona's completely exclusive. Persona 5 is 100% exclusive still, unless it somehow got released and I never found out about it.
Yeah.
Persona's always been solely PlayStation.
Well, I just learned something. But that's another.
Yeah, they also have Yakuza. I mean, I think PC's finally started to get Yakuza, but I mean, PlayStation's always had Yakuza.
Well, that's another thing I had to tell my cousin is that I like RPGs, like JRPGs, and Xbox doesn't get any of that.
Like, I'll even do the opposite now. I'll do PS4 exclusives, and we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Right off the bat, obviously, Persona 5, Uncharted, Bloodborne, Spider-Man, Horizon, God of War. These are all, like, Game of the Year candidates for people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, out of all the Xbox ones we listed, I mean, Halo might have a shot at something, and Gears of War is all right, but I mean, like, they're like this place is doing a top 30, and like I'll see how long it takes to a game that like is actually like legitimately really good, because a lot of these are just like simple indie games. I know once you get to the top 10, like almost all of the top 10s could beat whatever Xbox has to offer. And I'm not even saying this being like a PlayStation guy. This is just matter of fact, to be honest.
Well, isn't Horizon Zero Dawn also a PlayStation exclusive?
Yeah, that's why I listed it.
Oh, I didn't hear that. It's like,
sorry, I talk really fast when I gloss over those lists. But like Dissidia NT for Final Fantasy is an exclusive, and people really like that. Infamous Second Son, Ratchet and Clank, Last Guardian, Gravity Rush,
Ico.
Well, I'm just talking like that's on the PS4 alone.
Well,
Until Fucking Dawn, which does Telltale better than Telltale ever did. Detroit Become Human's been amazing ratings. Shadow of the Colossus obviously got its HD remaster.
What I was thinking of the remake of that.
But yeah, like top 5 for PlayStation 4 exclusive on this specific list is Bloodborne, Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted 4, Spider-Man, and God of War. I'm annoyed that Persona 5 isn't even on this list, but whatever.
That's just the thing.
Yeah, I love how they said honorable exclusions, Persona 5 and Yakuza 0. They have fucking Knowledge is Power, which is just a trivia game, as its 29 spot, and they put those. Okay, this article is like immediately null and void. I don't care now.
Yeah.
But like, it was the biggest reason why I went PlayStation is the Japanese side of things. And I know Microsoft is trying really hard to reach out a little bit more now, because I think they understand what's happening is that people are tired of the Western market. Western games are just becoming samey. They're becoming boring. Like, there's a reason that some of the best games in the last 5 years have either been from Japan or from Poland.
Mm-hmm. And that's just the thing. Like, Japanese games just offer something that, like Fallout 76 is getting bad press.
Oh yeah, I'm hearing a lot of shady shit about that game.
Todd Howard, Bethesda, they just didn't had to listen to his lies, and they were told, Don't listen to his lies. They decided to go with him over that other guy for bringing their games. Like the other guy just wanted to make a basically a game that generates infinite quests.
Yeah.
Todd, he wants to have a narrative. He wants to force you to follow the story that he wants. And people tend. I'm starting to get to the point where I don't like. Does anyone ever finish a Bethesda game, or did they just get to the point where everything opens up and just do whatever they want?
Because I mean, like, I finished Skyrim, but I didn't do everything. Like, I just did the story. And, like, people were like, well, why didn't you go back and finish it? I'm like, well, because I finished the main story, and now, like, I, when you play a lot of games, when you finish the main story, do you really have that much of an inclination to go back? Like, you've done it.
I know. Well, it's sort of like Dishonored. I thought it'd be just a whole game that's kind of like it's a whole game where you're basically crap. I forget what the Assassin's Guild is called in Elder Scrolls.
Oh,
But
God, I couldn't tell you.
yeah, it's been a while. But I thought it was like, oh, a whole game where you get to be an assassin. No, slow down there, kiddo. You're going to be penalized if you kill anyone. You need to teach them their lesson by just fucking up everything they do. Don't get revenge, because that's how you get the bad ending. And I'm like, then why'd you give us all these powers? That's just, I just couldn't finish. It's like, I want to be
Like,
I want to be the assassin. I want to kill people. I don't want to be punished because I killed people.
like with games like those, I think it's also a part of why open world games are just not as attractive to me anymore. There's so much filler and so many missions that feel tacked on that it's kind of hard to stay consistent. Like Fallout 3, I never finished. Fallout New Vegas, I think I finished, but I kind of rushed through it after a certain point. Fallout 5 or Fallout 4, I basically played a couple hours of and just went like this is just not working anymore. Even games like Horizon Zero Dawn, which I really liked, again, it's just I'm a bit of a completionist, so it's hard to get me to enjoy doing the same thing for 50 hours in a row. Like I can't do that for so long.
I know. Like,
At some point, like The Witcher is one of the few games that was able to keep me invested, and that's because some of their side stories are even just as encapsulating as the main quest is. Whereas a lot of the times in games like, say, Far Cry and Fallout, like a lot of the side stories are not interesting at all. It's just tacked on shit. It's just fetch questing.
see, Fallout, not Fallout, but Far Cry 4. I, by the time I got to pay a man at the end, I like, I'm gonna let him live because he's the only one in this whole fucking country that hasn't been lying to me every step of the way.
Well, not to mention he's the only one that has like a half decent personality at one point.
Because Sabal and the other bitch, they keep yelling at you because you did something that they didn't like. Like, one wants to turn into Colombia, the other one wants to become Saudi Arabia or Iran. I'm like, ugh, why couldn't I be on Pagan Min's side?
It's just it's definitely getting to a point where a lot of these games are just having a lot of trouble keeping people like story wise seems to be almost a thing that they're not thinking of right away. They're more interested in making the world super open. Like everybody's like telling you that, oh, Assassin's Creed Odyssey's world is one of the biggest you've ever seen. I'm like, that's not attractive to me.
Mm-mm.
I don't care that the world is massive. I care if the world that surrounds me matters. Take a look at what the Cyberpunk 2077 demo showed off. That looks like a world that's interesting to go through because there's always something going on.
Yeah,
Whereas how much in Assassin's Creed Odyssey's world actually has stuff going on, or is it just people walking down a set path?
I know. I'm at the point where I don't care about because I played like one of the Assassin's Creed games and at first I was like, oh, I love this. And people out they are so layers like, ugh, this game's shit. And it's like one of the Assassin's Creed 2 era stories. Like I just I just couldn't stand it. It's just horrible game from my perspective. And you just get to this point where, like I've said about like they keep going back before the Order of Assassins came to be, because when we learn about who the assassins were, is like during the Crusades, because they were active during the Crusades, and so they make out. Then they start saying that the assassins existed back in ancient Egypt. Like, could you not do this?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the origin of the word assassin, it's like a mistransliteration of Hashashin. And they just had to ruin all that. That's just one of those things that I should let go, but I can't because it just spits in the face of because I'm a history buff and it just drives me crazy.
Just in general, a lot of those games, just visually they all look cool. Like there's no denying that. But I mean, like, it's a game, for fuck's sakes. Like, you got to be more than just interesting to look at. Like, every game now is trying to do the photo mode stuff, which, believe me, I love. But again, it seems like there's that concentration on looking cool rather than telling a good story,
Yeah.
which I keep coming back to. It's like, it's easy to make a game that looks cool. It's easy to make a game that has like really cool looking characters in a cool world, but if you can't make the world interesting and you can't make those characters interesting, what kind of game have you really made? You've basically just made a walking simulator.
And then you got like EA, not EA itself, but DICE getting all woke and going broke because they decide you clearly don't understand history. Women were involved with World War II. Like, we're not saying there weren't any women involved, but they were usually helping behind the scenes. They weren't in the trenches shooting at each other.
Well, and even then, like, you can still tell a good story with it, but from all accounts, it doesn't. I mean, obviously, we'll see what happens when the game comes out, but I'm not convinced that it's going to tell a really good story.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that that's what they focused on, because I think they focused on making a Fortnite mode because they have to copy that.
I know that's what I heard. Battle Royale. Like,
Although, from what I understand, Black Ops 4 actually did a very good job with theirs, which is at least good to know that somebody can make a decent version of it if they're copy and pasting.
mm-hmm. I just don't like Battle Royale because I downloaded Fortnite on my PlayStation 4 and it took like 10 minutes of matchmaking and I dialed like the first few minutes, like, okay, no more of this.
Like, I've played a few games here and there of it. It's not like, look, I get why people think it's a good game. It's not bad. I just don't know how I could play that every day for weeks on end, play 50 games a day. It's just like that. It's not that interesting. It's not that exciting. Like, it's a game that maybe if I really at best could pop on once, maybe a couple of days a week for maybe an hour, and then I go and do something else. Like, it's not a game that I could ever play consistently. I don't know how streamers do it, because to me, it looks like a game that would just drive you mental after a while.
It does. Like, maybe like if I just played Destiny's PvP all the time and like if I was streaming that, people be hearing me saying, "Motherfucker!"
But again, you know what I'm not doing is I'm not saying you're a piece of shit or you're wrong for liking Fortnite. It's like, if you like it, you like what you like. I'm just saying, me personally, I don't get it.
Well, it goes back to our discussions about anime, how people want to criticize me because I don't like stuff like Berserk or this edgy boy shit. And it's just like, just because I don't like it doesn't mean I'm some love life watching Moe tard. I just don't like gory stuff.
Well, it's the thing. It's like, I don't attack people for what they like. And you hear come people being like, oh, you like harems, or oh, you like shows like Keijo. It's like, I'm not coming at you being like, oh, you like fucking Attack on Titan, you fucking pussy whip bitch. Like, I don't do that shit. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, people liking Goblin Slayer, like, as much as we've been talking about it, like, Goblin Slayer being the #1 rated show doesn't bother me. Like, I'm not pissed off that that show is #1 show, because if that was the case, I'd be mad every season because the show that I like is never #1.
No. I watch what I
Um,
watch because I want to watch it.
Actually, that's not true. I think Erased might be the one case where I actually did like the most popular show that season. But like, everybody won't shut the fuck up about Goblin Slayer or Sword Art Online, and I'm not sitting here being like, oh, I can't enjoy any of the shows I'm watching because people won't shut up about that. I'm okay playing what I'm playing on my PlayStation, because, and even though that, you know, everybody's talking about Fortnite or talking about God of War or talking about Spider-Man, which I do need to play, but that's a different story. But like, anything like that, whether it's gaming, whether it's anime, whether it's film, whether it's music, like, I'm not upset because Taylor Swift is the big thing right now in music and I'm listening to something else. Like, it doesn't affect my enjoyment of anything. And yet here's these people that, because I straight up sit there and say I don't like Goblin Slayer because it's a little too much for me, and they're like, oh, how fucking dare you, you fucking little bitch that just watches nothing but Moe. Like, really?
How dare you? How absolutely dare you? I don't know if you saw that clip of when that one guy said womp womp. That's what I started thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just,
It's just, it's just like what you want to like. Just don't expect me to like it too. We might like something at the same time, but
I know we're living in this culture now where people are trying to put us into groups again because, you know, identity politics is all the rage. But I don't know if people know this, but here's a really here's a big concept, folks. You and me are not going to agree on everything. So by that logic, we're gonna like different things.
mm-hmm.
I know it's a
well,
shock to people, but like,
well, it's
hell,
because
hell, you and me have fucking arguments on things that I like. Like, you jokingly got pissed at me earlier today because I'm like, fuck this thing. You're like, what?
probably Zombieland is,
Yeah, it was Zombieland.
but it's kind of like now you mentioned being put into groups again. It's like GamerGate 2, Sargn of War, Electric Boogaloo.
Whereas, like, in the original Gamergate, I was very involved, and now this is the point where it's like, guys, this is old. Like, this is not even fun
Well,
anymore.
then you got Monday Manlet coming out doing a video and, oh, I'm game. Like, yeah, you lost all relevance. You fucked over your channel because you became a sensitive bitch. And then he comes out and says, well, GamerGate would have succeeded if it wasn't for fucking Milo going on to say that. GamerGate was full of lefties and shit like that. Like, Matt, just shut up.
He wasn't wrong.
Oh, actually, according to Jim, he is a little bit wrong because where GamerGate originated was on 4chan on the poll and V boards.
Well, yeah, but where did Gamergate really emanate from? It emanated from the Zoe Quinn stuff.
Oh, you want to know what Monday Matt had also said? He's the reason Trump got elected.
Oh, of course. You know,
Because Monday
it,
Matt is the center focus of GamerGate.
you
It's not
know,
like Jim's always saying. Go ahead.
Sorry, you're really overlapping there. It's not like it had anything to do with the fact that just the Democrats did a really piss poor job of making people interested.
Well, they picked the one person that no one likes, who had to say, "I want people to Pokemon go to the polls for me." Like,
I would really wish if there was any way to get people in a room and have them not be dishonest, to sit them all down and be like, okay, did you vote for Hillary because you actually wanted her to win, or did you vote because that was the Democratic vote?
mm-hmm. Like Devin
I would
Tracy.
love to see what the percentages actually were,
Well,
of
it's like
people
the
that
Devin
were actually legit behind Hillary and not just voting because she was the Democratic nominee.
It's sort of like the Devin Tracy approach, where he just wants Democrats in power.
Yeah.
I'm a conservative. I don't even want conservatives to always be in power because I admit that my side's full of fucking retards sometimes.
What was the quote from Lewis Black that I remember him doing? I think it was, you got the Democrats, which are a party of no ideas, and you got the Republicans, which are a party of bad ideas.
It's not really that we got bad ideas. It's just we got a bunch of neocon warmongers, and the Democrats got a bunch of neolib warmongers.
Well, no, but I just like the idea that it's like, neither party's really all that good. It's just, you know, we like them in bursts.
Yeah. See, here's the problem with having Democrats in power for too long. You get places like Detroit.
Well, I even see in general, like with any party, like once they get to their second term, like you're kind of sick of it. Like I don't know the history of politics, but as far as I've understood, it seems like every time there's a two terms are up, it goes back and forth. Like once the Republican has been in it for two terms, the Democrat comes in.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
just
I know it's like that here in Canada. Like basically every time an election comes in, once the guy's gone through his term, we kick him out for a different person.
I know that's kind of the thing. Like we got too many political dynasties in our countries anymore. Like that's the thing that we created a system to avoid because like and we got the fucking Californians and New Yorkers want to get their way all the time, and they don't realize that this is what the system was put in place for because they didn't want heavily populated areas dictating the way the country's going to go because urban centers, they don't live in the real world. They live in an isolated bubble where a lot of them, they're like agoraphobic people that are afraid to leave their apartments.
So I'm looking here. There have been a couple of times that it has gone to the same parties, but there's two cases here that are important. So obviously we go Trump, we go Obama, then we go Bush, then we go Clinton, and it's just going back and forth. Then we get to George Bush and Ronald Reagan. That's the last time in a long time that the same party is carried over to two separate presidents. The other last two cases were Nixon and Ford, but Nixon obviously had to resign, and then obviously was Kennedy and Johnson, and Kennedy obviously was killed.
Mm-hmm.
So generally speaking, it's a very huge rarity that the same party gets a candidate in twice without it being something like a resignation or, in this case of Kennedy, an assassination. It's not very common. Like even further, I go down the list. Roosevelt and Truman, both the same party, and Roosevelt died while he was in office. Like it's not something that happens very often, especially nowadays. Like in the last, well, when would have realistically since the 90s, like it's never been two parties in a row. It's been once your term's done, you're gone, and then it's the new party goes back in.
Yeah, it's just the thing. Like,
It's just a case of like we get sick of people the second that they've been in there too long. It's
yeah,
just how it is. So like, what are we going to do? We're going to vote the same party in that's already pissed us off after the 8th year? No, we're going to vote the other party in because let them fuck up for 8 years.
well, it's just like, well, I'm going to go into politics of my state right now. We got, because over the past 10 or so years, a bunch of California refugees have come in and kind of fucked up Colorado. And now this is about the attorney general race that we got going on. We got this soy boy Fegaloon who's never practiced law at all. He's a law teacher. He's never practiced in court. He has no legal record. And he wants to be an attorney general. And the person he's running against has actually practiced law. Sheriffs all over the state like him because of his record as a prosecutor. And it's all like, yeah, let's go with the guy who's actually done this before, not the guy that isn't even qualified to work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about this Phil Weiser fagaloon. He keeps going on about how he's going to take ideas from Ruth Bader Ginsburg, President Obama, and Bill Clinton. Well, those last two, they legally can't practice law anymore because they've been disbarred.
Yeah.
You're going to take ideas. That's like saying, as a detective, you're going to do the same things that some dirty cops did. That got kicked out the force because they were dirty. That's not very smart. That's not a good look.
It's not really the brightest idea, is it?
No. It's just, and then you got this stupid shit with Elizabeth Warren, like, and they're, see, I said, so you see these people saying that they compared it to Mexican DNA, and people are like, well, that is Native American. No, it's not. Mexicans got a lot of Spanish in them. Indians got no European heritage in them whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, even just in general, I look at what's going on with that, and it just seems dumb as fuck to begin with.
I know. And she's like, it's she's got even less Native American heritage than most Americans do. She's a wasp. Like, and the way I look at it is like, if you look as white as she does, you probably shouldn't be claiming to be a Native American because Native Americans look a specific way. Because here's the thing about the tribes, they try they're like basically an ethno state at this point. They try to retain racial purity.
That's way out of my jurisdiction at this point.
Yeah, just I get tired of this crap all the time. Like I get to where I'm like Andy Warski going, I don't care.
It's kind of the gist of a lot of things now, where it's just like I don't have the capacity to give two shits about this stuff anymore.
Well,
It's why like I used to be very involved in stuff that was happening politically, and now I'm kind of residing back into just gaming and anime because it's like, dude, it's just easier. It's so much easier.
I know I started having to watch more anime because of all this Kavanaugh bullshit that happened. Like, and people are still bitching about how due process wasn't done and how they didn't do enough because he's totally a sexual predator and like that does it. I'm gonna go watch all Monogatari just get watched because I'm tired of hearing you stupid retards talk.
Like I would love to go back through my Gab just to see how like completely different it's been in the last like couple of months. Because I used to just go and shoot at everything, and now it's like nowhere near that anymore.
I know it's just like,
It's just there's no point in getting overly pissed off about everything.
the only thing that pissed me off about all this shit is it just made me hate women because all this shit would believe women like and saying that no woman would lie. Women lie all the time. That's the reason why women fight with each other all the time because they got caught lying about each other.
I'm actually trying to find like the last like politically charged or like post that I've made, and I'm now 3 months in and it's not there yet. So it tells you like how long it's been since I've really given two shits.
Yeah. Well, I don't use Gab that often anymore. I just because
Gab was where I was at my worst of posting all this stuff, that's for sure.
yeah, I do get use Gab when I get all really politically irate and I want to use words like faggot and other things like that because if I use those words on Twitter, I'm sure I'd be banned because I bet they got some kind of thing set up so that someone uses the word faggot they get banned.
Yeah.
And I wish
I
we could.
mean, to be honest, the word's cringy as fuck these days because it's just like, I don't know. It's overused.
I just like the way it rolls off the tongue because it just. That's the only reason I use it because it's like a good all-purpose insult. Because most people that use fag as an insult, they don't mean gay people. We're going to insult gay people, we just call them a poof.
Yeah.
That's what I call Lionel sometimes. They're like, not like that, you poof. Because he is gay. Like, this stuff with politics is just getting really out of hand. Like the new Project Veritas stuff that's come out from some campaign. To talk about how they're going to impeach Trump and just tell the people don't like it, deal with it. He was a shitty president anyway. Like, oh, you're not thinking about what would really happen.
Yeah.
You get rid of Trump for bullshit reasons like he did nothing. That starts civil war, and you'll be the first ones against the wall. Your liberal masters aren't going to protect you. They're probably going to flee the country or stay in their little safe havens, but they're just going to feed you to the wolves because you're just a useful idiot.
Yep.
This is why I don't like this dogmatic bullshit about. It's something I hate about Obama. All this, all this worship of the president. They acted like he was the Messiah. That's what drove me crazy about it. Like he's just another politician. Like Obama, not Obama, but Trump. I don't think he's going to make everything better. Just like how he makes these people flip out over every little thing he says. He calls Stormy Daniels a horseface, and oh, how dare you! It's like he said that because he knew you're going to flip out like that.
Yeah, no, I'm still looking on my Gab, still can't find anything. About 6 months or 6 months ago, it wasn't like, because I know what I did. I used to just jump at every SJW article I could and post to be like, this is fucking stupid, and now it's just like I don't care.
Yeah, the last time I tweeted on Gab was like 16 days ago when I promoted a stream.
I mean, I want to say the last time that I really was seriously going into politics was the whole Lindsay Shepard thing at Waterloo University that Jordan Peterson got involved with.
Yeah.
Like
That's a bunch of bullshit.
That was really like the last thing where I was really going for it, and then it just got to a point that because Jordan Peterson was really starting to handle this all really well, it was just like, okay, there's no point in getting that upset because clearly, like, there's nothing we can do to fight it because I mean they'll just sink their own damn shit.
Yeah,
and sure enough, it's starting to happen.
Well, that's shit that happened to her. They got offended on behalf of someone that wasn't even offended.
Yeah.
And
because as far as we know, there was never even a complaint. Like that's the crazy thing about the Lindsay Shepard thing is it sounds like there was never even a complaint issued.
Well, Jordan Peterson's totally worse than Hitler, you know, because he says it doesn't want to use gender pronouns for people that decide on a whim that they're transgender and they want to be recognized for their made-up Tumblr gender. So, like, was it Jessica Valenti that says that her child can memorize all these genders, like, and make a big fuss because no one seems to be able to remember them? Like, how can we keep up? They make 72 a day. A lot of these genders.
That's the thing. There's like just the fact that like I just popped up an article and that the A's. I'm still scrolling and I'm not even done the A's yet. It's like that's a problem, guys.
Mm-hmm. See, it's like, and a lot of these so-called genders, they're not genders. They're sexual fetishes and personality types. That's not gender.
It literally feels like how is any of this scientific? Like it's dumb as fuck. Like literally one of the first ones I read is called Adamus gender, which is a gender which refuses to be categorized. I'm like, then you're not a gender.
Mm-hmm. That's the shit that annoys me about all this 72 genders bullshit. Is like, those aren't genders. Those are personality types or sexual fetishes.
Like, just some of the ways that these are written are just ridiculous. Like, affect you gender, a gender affected by mood swings. What the fuck is that?
A lot of this is bullshit created by like land whales that are trying to make themselves feel special.
It's like, well, that's the thing is people are so like trying to figure out whether they stand on the victim scale. Where it's like, okay, if I make myself like one of a kind, like clearly I must be getting victimized. It's like, no, like you're just being like unrealistic and ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. That's what I really hate about all this made up gender bullshit. It's like, and then you got people like Riley Dennis, and he doesn't even have gender dysphoria, so let's just call him Justin. Because he's not trans, he's just finding a way to bang lesbians.
Yeah. See, like, oh my god, some of these, I don't know why I'm still reading these lists because it's so fucking stupid. Circ gender, a gender that feels so magical and grand as to be indescribable.
Yeah, that's just like, they're trying to make themselves feel special.
What the fuck? I know I read a list like this a long time ago, and I was just like mystified by how people like let people like make this shit up. It's like I don't see scientists coming out into the woodwork and being like, yeah, no, this is legit.
Oh, but Lacey Greens believes it's true that gender and sex are two different things. Like, ugh. But we're not expecting high intelligence from Lacey Green because she doesn't understand how farming works. It says that the farmland in South Africa is just unused land.
I mean, I guess it depends on how we describe what gender and sex are. Because if we're just judging sex based on your genitalia, then sure. But if we're talking gender based on like other things beyond that, I mean, sure, you might have a case for it, but realistically, like nobody gives a shit about what gender is if that's the case. Like people that are arguing your biological sex is talking about what you were born as. And if you were born with male genitalia, guess what you fucking are?
Mm-hmm.
You are biologically male. There is no getting around that. I'm sorry that apparently offends some people, but that's just the reality.
Yeah, and I actually believe in gender dysphoria is actual thing because AIM Paladins put forth the evidence of that it's a thing that they got different brain chemistry and it causes them to not feel
Well, of
right.
course, like nobody's taking the shot at them for an actual like what an actual like gender dysphoria case is like when you are legitimately transgender. But what we're seeing now is people that are just I feel like this today. That's not the same thing.
I know. It's sort of like, and the thing that really bothers me is this pushing it on children when they're probably going through a little phase.
Not to mention that children are always so impressionable is that if you tell them one thing, they're going to be like, oh, that must be it. They don't have the information around. They don't have years of experience of understanding these things.
Yeah, it's another thing about it is that these people they want forces on children. Children, a lot of them they just want attention. They're not all there yet. Like they don't even know what they like one day or another. They
Well, it's
because
why we keep saying, like, at least let the hit puberty first, for fuck's sakes.
well, at Jazz Jennings, they couldn't even go through the bottom surgery because they didn't have enough material to work with.
Well, that's the other part, too, right? There's just so much else to it.
And they say that a lot of people that go through the bottom surgery, they become even more suicidal because of they can't get that stuff back. It's and
I don't know.
they want to force this stuff on children. Like Iron Liz was on a stream with Naked Ape, and they don't want this being pushed on children because being transgender is already has a high suicide rate, and you want to put that on children. That's a special kind of evil. It's just like when people lost their shit because Trump didn't want to let transgender people in the military. It kind of puts a unit at risk, really. This is not Europe where you're going to have the diversity push where you got the fat transgender, no, that's a, fat transgender people because you want to make a push where how tolerant you are, and then people ask, what if we actually have to fight?
Mm-hmm.
You can't have these cream puffs for your military. You need to have the scary JoJo looking motherfuckers. You want to have the scariest Brock Lesnar tier, juggernaut looking motherfuckers that'll just scare the shit out of everyone because they don't want to fight those soldiers. You don't want to have peak Tumblr as the definition of your military because people are like, what's the worst they could do? What are they going to do? Trigger me to death? It's those you got those Afrocentrists that always talk about how they're better than some honky because it's the descent of kings and queens. And just be kind of playing how the comic where this you got this Afrocentrist just basting this white guy goes, and the white guy he just kind of looks at him like Gabriel from Gabriel Dropout and goes, at least I know who my father is. And the black guy just breaks down in tears because of going, that was too mean. It'd just be kind of funny to see that.
See, I can't hear the Kings and Queens line without thinking Dusty Rhodes' version of it. Fuck. I've wined and dined with Kings and Queens. I've slept in alleys and dined on pork and beans.
But it's just like when I hear these Afrocentrists talk, I'm like, oh god, they actually believe this shit. And you know they probably got some relative who actually went to college, who's got a good degree and he's got a good job. And at Thanksgiving, he's like, Tyro, would you shut the fuck up? You dropped out of school in the sixth grade because you wanted to be a dope dealer. You are the dumbest nigga I know. Because it's just like the whole black people want to get away from being the stereotype of the rapists, murderers, and thieves, and they claim that the Vikings were black.
Yeah, that
Uh,
makes sense.
like, wow, you can really pick them because it's not like the Vikings were notorious for going around Europe stealing everything that was and wasn't nailed down, raping all the women, and murdering all the men. It's just, it's like there's no self awareness. They want to claim every culture around the world except their own. And it's not to say that Africa didn't have any great cultures that rose up. It's just they're not as impressive as the ones that came from North Africa and Europe and Asia.
Yeah.
But you're grasping at straws if you're saying that Asians are the descendants of whatever tribe is their great people that they decided this week. It's, I know I heard Bronx blogger say that on the kill stream trying to tell Zidane, who's Bhutanese, that he's a descendant of black people. Like, it had pissed off Zidane because, oof, it's just, I get tired of all this shit. That's the reason why I have to watch more anime now because I just want to get away from this idiocy everywhere. The Kavanaugh bullshit just made me just start going through my backlog and finishing some stuff because I'm done.
Maybe that was the plan all along, to get all of us away from politics to go back and enjoy other stuff.
That's the thing that I don't get about like these political activist type people. You see them protesting all the time, and like, don't you people have hobbies you like to do, or is this your whole life that you're gonna chant these grade school chants about how you want to get rid of? I don't know who it is this time, but there's always gonna be that stupid chant about how Trump is literally worse than Hitler because having Jewish grandchildren and a Jewish son-in-law somehow makes you worse than Hitler.
But yeah, it's just it's now at a point that there's just no reason for me to really pay any attention to what goes on these days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't
Especially,
know if that was their intent. If that they just pissed us off all enough that we just stopped fighting it.
especially for you, because you got Justin Trudeau to get the doesn't stop giving.
That's why I don't even pay attention.
I don't know what the last
I know.
stupid
I know
thing.
you guys can't really stop because Trump doesn't let you stop. But at the very least, with Trudeau, like he does at least for once in a blue moon something smart, so you kind of back off for a little bit, and then he comes back and does something stupid. You're like, really? You were doing good. But either
and
way,
and I remember that was it NAFTA because Trump was trying to renegotiate because it was kind of broken and not really fair to America anymore. And Justin Trudeau was going to hold out like so. Trump just like, okay, I'll just talk to Mexico. They want to play ball.
yeah.
And Justin Trudeau had eventually realized, oh, these hosers might be angry at me, eh? I just don't understand how Trudeau thinks because he says really stupid things like if you kill your enemies, they win. I'm like, what? And the whole it's the current year, so you need to have 50% men, 50% women in your government. Like, we have a stupid bitch in America that's like a state representative for Colorado, and she says that women won't be fairly represented until Congress is 50% men, 50% women. Like, ugh. Just you should just have people because you need to have women because you might not be getting the best. They might be a dumb whore. That's the problem with this whole quota bullshit that you're not getting the best. You're just finding who are the first person you can find is that will fill the role.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're running out of stuff to talk about.
No,
And
I was gonna say I really got nothing left now, so I don't know if you got
yeah,
anything else. Because
I
I'm
don't
probably
got
just gonna
much.
take off at this point.
I think YouTube's down for some reason, so I don't know if the stream's
Yeah,
gonna.
that's kind of hilarious. I saw that and I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
As soon as we start streaming, and it site goes down. Like that's probably why we don't got any viewers.
You always don't have any viewers.
I get some sometimes.
Yeah, we get maybe two or three.
You have to build them up over time because, but Jesus Christ, all this bullshit in the world is just getting old quick. Like social justice has gotten out of hand, and like I was watching Hard Bastard earlier, and you had bitch face saying that there's something wrong with Sweden wanting to make sure that they don't become minorities in their own fucking country.
Yeah.
How's that wrong? I mean, sure, you're Armenian, but apparently it doesn't bother you working for a network named after a literal hate movement that wiped out your own people. That's still the funniest thing I ever saw is you got Armenian working at a network named after basically a Turkish version of the Nazis. Could you imagine there's like a news network called the Hitler Youth and they had a token Jew? And they regularly denied that the Nazis killed anybody. It'd be like that. Almost be like that Family Guy episode where that because Brian just keeps bringing up the fact that the Nazis invaded Poland, and basically that German tour guide just flips out and starts yelling in German, doing Nazi salutes.
What, the family guy thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like Viva on vacation.
And Ryan keeps pushing it, and pretty soon that tour guide just flips out. He starts yelling in German, and pretty soon he's doing a Nazi salute. That's just so funny to me because they really did like to deny that ever happened.
I mean, I like to deny being like essentially like the most memorable like evil presence ever in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure, there were probably worse, but we don't know of them because we didn't have photographic evidence of it.
Yeah, well, the communists did just as bad. But yeah, there's
But man, that Hitler stash wasn't even in style.
that mustache is ruined forever.
Yep.
Because you'd know if it wasn't for Hitler, you'd see a bunch of hipster faggots rocking it.
Oh, Michael Jordan tried it once. Remember that?
I try to forget that because it just looks horrible. Charlie Chaplin probably said, "Damn bastard."
It's like, I had a look and you ruined it.
It's just like, God, what is
Yeah, that's
you're
a
breaking
bit
up.
longer, but oh, am I good now? Am I good?
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's gonna be it for me. So I don't know if you're gonna go solo for a little bit longer, but I'm definitely done for the night.
Yeah. I was going, one more thing is that to update Destiny 2, I had to delete Deus Ex. I had 51 gigabytes of free space. Apparently that's not enough to update Destiny.
Really? Because I think when I was updating for Festival Lost, it was only like a gigabyte and a half.
I know. I had 51 gigabytes free space. It said, you need to free some space. And I sort of like, I just get rid of Deus Ex because I'm playing a lot of other games still. I actually deleted a couple games to make room for Persona 5. I'm like, that's one thing that just like drives me crazy. And it only needed like 1.4 gigabytes.
Hmm.
So why did you need me to free up that much space for? That
Be-
little.
because
It's fucking Sony. Sony's being run by a bunch of idiots anymore.
still better than what we got in most other cases. I'd still
Hmm.
take this over others.
Yeah. At least they got games and not Halo and Forza.
Yeah.
Besides, who wants to play Forza? You can literally play Need for Speed and other shit like that on other consoles.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, I'm gonna take off.
Hey.
Thanks as
Yeah.
always. Hope the people that are totally watching this probably not actively live podcast.
Hope you enjoyed our ramblings about other shit that wasn't Goblin Slayer and the Goblin questions. At the end of the
Well,
day, goblins aren't people. They're fictional. You should
ex-
feel bad about them being exterminated because they rape people.
except for that hot one and slime, I'm okay with that.
Well, those are good goblins.
And those are the best goblins.
Yep.
All right, guys, later.
Later. Okay. I think I'm gonna end it for tonight. Hopefully this gets backed up. Fucking YouTube. They can't get their shit together. But why should we expect Google to be run effectively anymore?